Well, let's take a look at the pick and bans. I know people are excited to find out what maps we'll be playing and what champions will they be on. Lethal going to you. Thoughts on what we see? Blood Covenant, Corrupted Keep, and then Ruins for the decider.
Blood Covenant, I'm not really too much of a surprise there. Cooler's been looking very good on Corrupted over the last 2 stages. He was quite weak, but now he's kind of been able to tell exactly what his weaknesses were. He's been able to keep himself at bay, choosing the right engagements. But Ruins should be a cracker of a game, depending on how things will go between the Ranger and the Ison. But Av3k, it's all about how Av3k does, because in the earlier stages, he was dancing around relegation all the time. But this stage has definitely been Av3k has actually been in his prime. He's been playing so well compared to the previous stages, and Cooler needs to really be on his toes no matter what the map pick is during this series.
We're moments away from popping in. Anyone want to give any predictions? I know even chat has said, look, I love both these players. I don't even know who I want to have win, but one must lose and one must advance. So any thoughts?
I mean, it is going to be a close one. That's what I think. Not a 2-0, probably a 2-1. As Ketchup mentioned before, it was Av3k who won the previous matchup between the two. But if we look back at their entire history in the Quake Pro League, it's actually perfectly tied. 3 wins for Cooler, 3 wins for Av3k. They've got a lot of back and forth. Av3k wins and Cooler wins. Just a whole lot of changing it up. So this one is really up in the air as far as I'm concerned.
Anyone else want to take this one? Or is it like, no, just nod and say, yeah, what Flea said?
Nah, don't worry, I'll take it, don't worry. But as soon as it's Blood Covenant, it's one of Cooler's favourites, and it's a great way to start the series off for him.
All right, well, it looks like we're about ready to hop in the game. Let's kick it to our casters, ZSX and 40 Lions.
We are jumping into one of the most iconic matchups in pretty much esports history. These two have been around for so long, 40. They've got so much history between themselves and in the scene. I'm really looking forward to this one.
So excited for this one. The Prince versus the King, and we are live on map number 1 in this best of 3. Cooler versus Av3k. I'm excited. Let's see how Cooler fares here. Already a little bit of an altercation over by the rail. A little bit of a rocket, and that'll send Cooler packing towards the Mega. He left it up, so that's going to leave a delay, but the Heavy has also been left up by Av3k.
What I'm really interesting across this whole series is the fact that we have mirror matchups throughout, particularly in maps 2 and 3. They've gone for medium champions with traditional movement patterns, so it's going to come down to strategy more than anything else. A bit cheesy, but we do have a big engagement as an initial rocket from Cooler smacks Av3k in the face, and he needs to retreat up top. There's a long time before the Mega, and Cooler will know this, so can push up if he's feeling confident. He obviously has the inject, but decides to back off. Only limited rockets to his name, doesn't want to be caught in a situation with his pants down, so plays it safe, and that's good.
Yeah, smart play there. Didn't need to force anything. Claims the Mega a little bit later, and Heavy's still up again, adding a little bit of a separation between the items, about 6 seconds as Cooler looking for some more damage. HMG just playing really, really slow.
These two have had very contrasting story arcs across the QPL, as Cooler's really not been living up to his previous success, particularly last QuakeCon obviously, and Av3k on the other hand has not been doing as well as he wanted to until the last month or so, where he's taken it up a notch. So it'd be good to see if Cooler can regain his composure. Obviously he's a completely different animal in a tournament environment, whereas as pointed out by the panel, Av3k has had success against Cooler. And at the first 2 minutes of this engagement, it's been relatively standoffish. There's been a few opportunities where, on another day, one or another might have committed. Even later into the series, they might have committed. But you want to play it safe. Oh, nice rocket coming out from Av3k there.
Good rail from Cooler there. Gets another one. He should be able to chase this one down. There's the inject for speed, but the rail from Av3k was good for a moment, but the LG tickle from Cooler will get him that first frag 2 minutes in. And let's not forget, Stage 1 champ, Cooler. He's held the belt before, and he's going to work his way towards trying to hold it again here as the King rocket jumping up to the bridge.
Absolutely.
Some more damage. Little flick rail will miss there. Kind of keeping rockets away from Av3k as long as he can. There's a good rocket that might give it up, but there's another one and pops him off, and Av3k, I don't think he picked it up, so still rocketless here.
Rocketless, and Cooler will be wanting to play around that as he pushes into this close engagement. But remember how powerful the shotgun is, and it will be the shotgun that saves Av3k's life. Have to be so wary making those committals, because just the shotgun to a light champion is just death in barrels. So Cooler learns that the hard way. Av3k gets a second frag and takes a nice little lead here after the pressure was Cooler was putting out. He's also taking position up on this high ground, has the grapples to maintain that. Athena so good on Blood Covenant. Anarchy strong, but not a strongest map for the Anarchy.
As you mentioned previously, the verticality of the map really lends itself to Athena hooking all over the place, being able to traverse the map with ease. So now the role's reversed a little bit. Av3k wants to try and protect those rockets. There's the Tri-Bolt. Cooler's just going to push in with LG, and the Tri-Bolt's not going to be enough. 45 HP. Av3k needs to get out of there. Cooler smells blood, and the shotgun from Cooler will net him the frag on that one.
But indeed, is it going a little bit back and forth here. Cooler now with the advantage in terms of weaponry needs to maintain control of that rail. We know how important it is, and every rail hit on a light champion is exponential damage just because of how vulnerable they are. It's particularly careful. Av3k obviously trying to work his way over there, but Cooler recognizing the importance of this weapon won't shift his positioning ever too much. Try and isolate Av3k and make at least a little bit of damage, trying to pick up that weapon.
Getting a chicken right now over the rail.
You can see how important it is for Av3k to get it, and he's going to use at least one rail for his trouble. Cooler misses the second, and Av3k does sneak away for now. Both items up as well. We've just been trading major items back to back. Nobody's got a firm lockdown of the map, but that's a good opportunity for Cooler to do it. The rail signals he can go aggressive. Won't be expecting Av3k to make a move here, so as I say that, Av3k does jump up onto it. He knows he has the grapples available, wants to use them to confuse Cooler. Cooler playing it safe, dropping down. Perfect dodge from the Russian.
Very scary. Av3k balls to the wall on that one. It worked out, but that could have been crazy as the mega pickup works out for him, and Cooler's now forced on the low ground with a 50 shard. 5 minutes in, tied 2-2. I don't think anyone really thought otherwise. This one's going to be a close one. Great rail from Av3k there. Now he wants to chase. A little bit of rockets fired off from Cooler. There's a warning shot. There's a mega pickup, but Av3k aggressing with the rail. There's a rail of his own from Cooler, and the inject comes out for a little bit of insurance here. You gotta wonder, does Av3k get his powers from the hair? Because it's fantastic. I'd say best hair in Quake. No offense to you. Oh, are you kidding? I have like none. It's terrible.
Exactly. Jealous.
Oh, absolutely. Aren't we all?
That's a fact. But he pulls it off, and he's pulling it off so far at 2-2. Although it does feel like a matter of time until Cooler makes his move, because Cooler has got a lockdown on these items. Now there's a long split between the Heather and Megu. It wouldn't be surprising if he just does another rotation and then looks to put it on. On the hunt for Av3k now. He knows he's got a loss of resources, but having picked up a couple of light, Av3k can defend himself, but he's making sure he is positioned extremely strongly over the far side of the map. Cooler has to be wary of his pickups tonight, so a Tri-Bolt.
They're trying to get one last rail in, but he will miss. So dodge. Too precise. There's the inject. A little bit early. I don't know if you want to push off of that or what, but gets that overstack at the very least.
Yeah, overstack, use the cooldown, try and get as many vials as you can. Av3k did a great job of stalling Cooler, which allowed him to make that movement onto the Mega.
Oh, that's so much Tri-Bolt right to the face. The timing on that, but the Tri-Bolt volley back from Av3k is pretty good for the Polish Prince here. It's still a bit of a stalemate.
Tri-Bolt has been weapon of the tournament so far for me, as we've seen it being used a lot more effectively than the past. 2 rails, that's a big opening for Av3k, who knows Cooler will be railable, but picking up that health pushes him just outside of that range. But Av3k's going to hang around. Wants to try and get Cooler rocket nearly the feet of Anarchy. Just double backing in time, and Av3k's caught mid-air here. This is big opening for Cooler. Av3k's a bit trapped up in the open. That retaliatory rail will be enough, though, and once again we reset to this stale. Not sure if that lag was us or Cooler, because he's a bit confused.
Just resetting his hand on the mouse real quick as we're getting close to the 8-minute mark here. He's going to grab some vials so he can have some inject. That's a great rail there after he picks up the guy. Boil down to the next frag.
Yeah, the inject's usage has been fairly consistent on cooldown. 108 stack now, 8 minutes in. I am a fan of managing your stack by controlling the heavy as an Anarchy and using the inject for that boost rather than concentrating on Mega. I just feel that Cooler's made that. Using the inject now, he senses the opportunity here as Av3k is in position for the Mega. He does pick it up, eats a rail. Cooler wants to get this frag and take a lead now. Av3k dropping down. Remember, he's got the grapples to get away. These weak and Cooler misses a clutch rail.
So close there, almost finding that angle. Next not even now, that rocket's pretty good. Could get a follow-up, but just wants the vials to get out. He's gonna have it in 2 seconds. Grabs a 50 shard as well. Could deal damage at this end. He sees it at the last second out of the corner of his eye. Is he gonna commit? I think he's gonna let it go and maybe cut off Av3k. Both players trying to suss out where they are as the inject comes out. Av3k's gonna be able to make his way over to the heavy, and Cooler says, that's fine, I'll grab this Mega as we're getting close to 1 minute left in regulation.
Yeah, both players know how important the next frag is. That was really unfortunate for Cooler in the previous game over the heavy. He was trying so hard to trap Av3k, but popped the inject to make the move, and Av3k spotted out the corner of his eye, and Cooler not risking charging through a choke point. Happy to reset, and it will be at this point now next frag wins, so I don't expect the tempo, pacing to change. It's very methodical from both. We can see that what's a game of chess, playing around each other as one picks up one item, the other maneuvers himself in position for the other. Extremely cautious play and huge amount of respect coming out.
Again, grabbing that lower 50. I think he heard the Athena swing here as he's grabbing the vials again. Doing a good job of keeping that base stack as high as possible, using inject frequently here, both with the speed boost and that overstack. Missed with the rail, but Av3k, not as friendly, doesn't miss with his rail. 10 seconds left. We are going into sudden death.
Either player wants to take a messy, close combat fight because one rocket can change the course of encounter. They want to forge the perfect opportunity. That's why we see so much prodding and probing with the rail, with the tri-bolt, trying to chip away at each other. Unfortunately, neither player has been successful just yet in stringing consecutive rails together to formalize the opening in any way. Partly because they've both been so well positioned at all times. But this is an opening. Cooler feels it. It's a nice little rocket, to the behind of Av3k. Knows he's trapped down here. Obviously, Av3k has the verticality with the grapples, so could get away. And Cooler decides to pick up that heavy once again.
Stopwatch.
Trade of the items comes out again.
This teleporter will be big. He sends Av3k above. They make an engagement hit by the rocket. Cooler pushes it, but doesn't hit anything. Av3k's done all the damage. He knows he can end it, and he does. He takes the game 3-2 and goes up 1-0 in a series that was so tense the whole way through.
That was so unfortunate. Just one or two rockets would have made the difference in that, but it felt like he didn't hit anything, and Av3k just put the beat on him, melted him.
And
that was
how
really close.
Evenly split they were across the board. Virtually identical damage, identical items. And as you say, like I mentioned just before, neither one wanted to take a fight because one rocket counts. And unfortunately, Cooler didn't hit two and Av3k did, and suddenly he's dead. So it's such a high risk play when you're a light champion to try and take those engagements unless you're confident and sure in the approach. And unfortunately, we know how good Av3k's dodge was, and it was just too good for Cooler in that time.
They're just really well done. I like the pacing of both players there, a lot of respect. And again, as you said, want to make sure 100% before they go all in. They want that frag, they want that victory. Luckily for Av3k, he prevails in map number 1. We're going to go on to Corrupted Keep here shortly. It's going to be Visor versus...
Yeah, the Visor pick's interesting. We've seen it creeping into the meta a little bit more for pro play now. What it does is it opens up the opportunity to put a lot of pressure on spawn and to solidify your positioning on the middle ground and take up more aggressive positions on, particularly on the Mega, just by understanding obviously your opponent's movement. So whilst I wouldn't say it's probably the best map to use a Visor, we've seen it a lot from Cooler recently with mixed success and can understand it, whereas the BJ is an Av3k staple, and obviously there's significant opportunities, particularly on Corrupted Keep, to press your advantage, to corner your opponent, to take these fights where the dual wield really does count. So I personally favor the BJ. There's also plenty of confrontation to make the most out of that passive, ever so small it is. It does add up over time. But we'll see. Like, it's going to be close either way.
Yeah, I agree with the visor pick on this map specifically because there's not a lot of places where you could pop it where you won't be heard with the global sound. So interesting to see how Cooler's going to use it, but I think Av3k might be able to take this 2-0. Although this is, I know a lot of people call this map Razy's Keep. I like to call it Cooler's Kingdom because in Italy he went off.
Yeah.
And again, let's not forget he raised the belt there. So it was a while ago. We'll see how he fares this time, but I have faith that this might go to a third map, but we'll see.
No, absolutely. Like traditionally, Cooler, for me, he plays best on these type of maps that are close. He can control everything. He's like a Pac-Man, sweeping the map from everything, keeping in your face, playing at a high tempo. That's for when I've felt Cooler is at his most scary. And if he can get into that groove early on, then absolutely we should be going to a third map. But Av3k is obviously no pushover, so we'll see what happens. We do start on Cooler over by that light armor.
And as much as the visor model wants to lie to you in the beginning, there is no rail on this map in case anyone forgot. So Heavy goes to Cooler, the vision's popped, and he has all the information. The competition over rockets spills out as per usual here. Just a little bit of chip damage from the machine gun. And I like controlling that vial area. Need that on cooldown as much as you can. A little bit of shotgun, and now Cooler just waiting patiently. It's always scary to wait on that ledge. Telefrags are very real here. As the tri-bolt, good damage out of that from Cooler.
Dual wield did come out and Cooler did notice that, so that is an opening for him to go a bit more aggressive in his approach to get this rocket. So well calculated by Cooler, nice and patient, and already we get a second round of that piercing sight as he uses it to catch Av3k out the teleporter. Nice damage with the tri-bolt. Tri-bolt and heavy machine gun are the two critical weapons on this map. You're as close as these players will be.
Yeah, heavy machine gun you can get all the mileage out of. Since there is no rail, that's kind of the long distance weapon of choice. Just peppering damage as best you can. Cooler will get the mega. Heavy is going to be up, and Av3k looks like to get that for free unless he exits the teleporter. Careful, and there it is. Oh no, so much tri-bolt, and it keeps going, it doesn't stop.
Never ended 40. Yeah, I never like going through that teleporter if you don't know where your opponent is, so slightly risky for Av3k. He does take a fight here, but shouldn't be expected to fight to the death. And nice double back from Cooler, and Av3k's on the ropes. His heavy shotgun, super shotgun should I say, should be enough. He's trying to delay, popping the dual wield just to delay a bit more, but it's not going to be enough. Cooler's going to double back to get that mega, but it's not worth it.
Yeah, I don't think Av3k's getting out of there. I don't know about the dual wield last resort there, because now it's on cooldown. Lots of tri-bolt, good machine gun from Av3k, actually maybe forcing Cooler away for the time being. He's going to escape into the red room. That was pretty good damage from Av3k there.
It was good damage. Cooler had the light to double back on. He knows how early Av3k is for this heavy, so there is no rush to get across. His position up on the bridge is paramount, so you get the most of the long range damage. You can control the weaponry. Av3k still doesn't have a lot to work with, so Cooler's not too fast that Av3k got that heavy. What a rocket that was! Wow. Again, there is a choke point between. He knows that Av3k will probably have the dual wield up, so this is why we see a little bit of hesitation.
Short mission gets me over into the red room. That's exactly where Av3k is. Gets a glimpse of him, and again, dual wield popped, and he's going to take his time. He has vision up if he wants. This is well done by Cooler here, making sure that he's not going to run into any kind of dual wield trap. There's a rocket right in the face of Av3k. He's very weak. A little bit of tickle won't reach from below. Cooler just wants this frag. He's also going to get the mega. Now it's just a matter of catching out Av3k.
Does steal away the heavy and plays it carefully through the teleporter, so gets away without taking any damage whatsoever. So that's the ideal situation considering the initial rockets from Cooler. And it's also got position on his mega. Cooler actually very, very early, so he needs to be a bit careful. He's not getting the best of this long range engagement either, as Av3k's done enough damage to back off to the light and push it. But the tri-bolt once again from Cooler's done so much, and Av3k drops to his death. Cooler surviving with virtually nothing.
3 HP after just an amazing barrage of tri-bolt into LG. Cooler's still really weak, looking for more damage, needs to be careful.
But it was such a smart move to go for the heavy instead of the mega, because he got the most amount of value out of his stack at that time, because the mega would have just topped him up to 100 health, whereas the heavy gave him the opportunity to get the heavy and then get back up to 100 health with just a health bar. So it's those little small plays that really do separate these type of players, because I'm sure a lot of other players would have just got the mega and probably died afterwards. This excites back up. We've taken quite a lot of value out of that, to be fair. Once again, it's going through, so we could trap Av3k in this light room. Av3k hearing him come through, doesn't want to take this fight, and this time backs off just in time, but seeing the value of it on this map in particular.
Utilizing for traps and also just the Tri-Bolt in general. As you said, throughout today, the Tri-Bolt has been very, very utilized. More machine gun damage, 225s to work with. And Av3k Boneyard. Is this going to be his final resting place as the rockets rain down from Cooler? And the machine gun, so much damage. Absolutely incredible. Red room filled with Av3k's blood here as he goes down.
This lights up, should be using it now as he does to go and put the pressure on. He's just got the full rotation of items, which is pretty much the first time this game. It's the cleanest. He knows Av3k hasn't got a lot to work with, but he's trapped here. Now the dual wield comes out early, and so far I haven't seen a single dual wield that has been done in a positive manner. They've all been preventative, defensive, and that's not a position you want to be in as the Blazkowicz. And Av3k is caught in the air. He will certainly go down here. No matter how much damage he can do, it's a lot, but it's not enough 40 in this map. Frag by frag, Cooler is grinding his way to victory.
Yeah, just absolutely asserting dominance here. 4-0, the scoreline's not that wide, but you can just tell by the control and all of the Tri-Bolt. What is he hitting, like 3,000 damage with the Tri-Bolt? This is insane.
And once again, Av3k's caught completely unawares. I don't think I've seen Av3k take the initiative once on this map so far. Cooler's consistently peppered away with Tri-Bolt, machine gun, and caught him off guard. It's been an absolute perfect game so far.
Catch him out there. The dual wheel comes out again, but no real rockets landing there. It's just a little bit of chip damage.
Back in, look at the stack once again. Av3k is really vulnerable right now. Cooler can keep pressing his advantage. He'll always have to be careful in these choke points, but once again, you see the dual wheel go out. He knows there's nothing to be scared of. He can just charge on in and take another easy frag.
This is easy street right now. 5-0. He doesn't deny the rockets. Av3k waiting patiently. Doesn't push in, doesn't get caught out, but it's only a matter of time at this point. 5-0, 6 minutes in, and Cooler doesn't seem to be stopping. Again, the scoreline isn't that wide. We've seen a lot worse today, but Cooler is just absolutely in control all over this map.
That assessment is perfect. Like, the scoreline may not be big, but at no point have I felt Av3k is in control or looks like getting back into the game. He's 6 frags down, but he's just consistently running for his life. He will get onto the Mega here, but Cooler's in position again with that piercing sight to do maximum damage and take nothing out of himself. Back off for the heavy. It's just been efficiency and effectiveness throughout.
Even delaying that tele exit, knowing that there was damage coming his way, avoiding the rockets. 7 minutes in, 6 frags up. Very textbook play for Cooler.
I got Av3k on a bit of a string. Av3k doesn't really know what he should or could be doing at this time. Cooler's in position for this heavy. No damage coming out from either one of them yet. Now there's some good rockets. Av3k doesn't even get the big wow. That stings.
As you mentioned before, just put little maze right there. Like, I don't need that. I'll grab these health bubbles as armor. I'll grab the heavy. You take what you want. Putting out more damage over at the rockets. We're just doing a great job again. This is his king, showing the prince why he the king.
What do you do if you're Av3k in this situation? I don't know.
As the time ticks away, you're forced to playing more and more aggressive, and that's just not what you want right now, as Cooler's just putting out so much damage. And, you know, 2 minutes left, you just plus back, so he's got that going as well. So all the pressure mounting on Av3k, and I think this one might be too far gone.
Yeah, and this is why I said I was so excited for this series. Not only the caliber of the players, but the picks. And it's been such a traditional duel. There's been no shenanigans coming out with brute forcing on a heavy stack. There's been no real imbalancing in terms of the ability usage. It's just been a very clinical performance from Cooler of how to play duel effectively.
Yeah, absolutely surgical here. Try and heal back up. There's the heavy. And again, just patience. There's no reason to spam through the telly and just eat unnecessary damage. 1:20 left on the duel. Av3k has to know this is a curtain call for the map, and it looks like we're going to go to Ruins.
And all those visor doubters out there, when you play it as effectively as this, it shows you how powerful it can be. Again, the desperation use of the jewel, but it's all in vain as Av3k doesn't hit anywhere near enough. The Cooler is walking away without even conceding a frag, which is that's painful. On a map that can be so chaotic, we see such big scorelines from both sides of the coin. To not even get a frag is emotionally painful.
Absolutely. And I think you kind of told the story with the utility use on Av3k's end, unfortunately not really getting much mileage out of the dual wield. It's almost like Doom Guy's ult, where you just kind of use it to run away or defensive, except he's not getting any damage off of it at all. And Av3k, he calls it. Like, okay. Okay, this is fine. Everything's fine. 11-0 for the King. And that's quite the bounce back. I mean, the first map was close too. Very, very neck and neck. 2-2 for the longest time. Av3k almost capitalized on just a misplay from Cooler. He kind of went all in and just didn't hit the rockets, right? So not a big deal. But now he comes out swinging for the fences on this one. 11-0, making a statement going into map number 3. Showing the world why he's the king and why he's raised the belt once before, trying to do it again.
Yeah, let's just remind ourselves, he's only one of 3 players that can take home that belt. And let's look at the damages differences here. We see 800 damage on the tri-bolt to 0 from Av3k. That is quite remarkable.
Yeah.
Cooler. And yeah, we've just seen that weapon in particular. I know we've spoken on it a lot, but it's come much more into the fore of gameplay nowadays as the level has increased, and it's so strong when you use it like this. It looks unbalanced, but again, it's the effectiveness of Cooler using it. But we do move on.
I feel like a lot of it is also, you know, people are just hesitant for change, right? So when it first came out, people were like, whatever, just give me regular grenades. But then you realize how good the tri-bolt can be shooting from lower to higher level. You actually get to utilize it in different situations. You're, oh, this is great. I love this
thing.
It has purpose.
You can do damage from angles that no other weapon can. You can spam it up from a completely safe position, and you don't even have to hit the opponent. It's in the air around them, and it does damage. Nothing's like that. Even rockets, they have to hit a wall or have to hit something physical. These just explode near them. So it's extremely strong, and obviously if you're caught out guard with it, it can be vulnerable, but when you use it tactfully, it's so impressive. But we move on anyway, 1-1 now in this upper bracket series, as we move on to our decider map, which once again will be with medium champions, and that was why I was so excited. I'd love to see a medium champion matchup.
That's exactly what we're going to get. Ranger versus Eisen to decide the series on Ruins of Sarnath. I mean, both picks have their pros, right? Ranger, again, the orb can close distance. You can have those set plays that we saw from Maxter earlier, even though that was on Awoken. You can kind of do the same setups here where you get in and out of heavy, you get in and out of mega. But with Av3k and the Eisen, you can kind of trap down by the heavy, specifically with Timmy the Turret. A couple blind corners on Ruins that could really ruin your life. So we'll see if Av3k can utilize those positions, and we'll see what Cooler and how he's going to use the Dire Orb. I'd like to see a lot more set plays, but I know a lot of people just go for the damage and closing the distance, especially when you hit a couple rails and you smell blood. That is kind of the optimum way to play that, but it's always nice to see those cheeky kind of set plays where you're like, all right, I know exactly this lineup, I'm going to run, grab this item, and then I'm already at the other item.
Yeah, Ruins, we often see quite similar to the way Blood Covenant played out. A lot of standoff, testing each other, playing from distance, splitting of the items. As you say, the Eisen has a lot of utility, and the turret is powerful. It's an Av3k. Av3k loves that champion. But I'm sure we're going to see a lot of creativity coming out from Cooler with the orb and the passive and the rocket jump. There's plenty of utility to rocket jump around this map in particular. Again, good verticality, and that orb, as you say, can be used to get out of free or to increase your burst damage. And again, with the levels of the map, it causes a lot of trouble for Eisen. So I see that's the biggest strength for me in terms of what Cooler can do, is to abuse the maneuverability and mobility of Ranger relative to Eisen.
This is going to be it. This is the decider again. The relegation matches were best of 5, but we're in the best of 3 double elimination bracket stage. So the winner of this advances. Loser has to go through the lower bracket right here. Cooler versus Av3k on Ruins, and we are live with a little bit of Cooler and a little bit of Ranger.
Not live on Cooler with the Ranger. Down onto the turret, so we'll know where Av3k's been. Whether it's getting the information on Av3k's side, but Hawk Cooler using the rail advantage already early in this map.
Ooh, Av3k lying in wait. Good first rocket, can't really hit the follow-up.
That's one of the most treacherous areas of the map. Up in this choke point here, it's one of the best places to hold. You get perfect information across the map. It's extremely strong to defend.
Even that little dire orb, it didn't really travel that far, but that gave Cooler the advantage to drop down and get both items. Av3k trying to chip away now. He's going to hit one rail. Can he hit another one? The rockets don't land. The turret will give him away. Just fighting for this T-con position that you mentioned earlier. That is a bit of a death trap depending on where you get caught out, especially if you hang out on the mega side on either side. It could be very damaging. Av3k with a jump rail across the doorway there.
Why not?
Air Av3k, why not? When's the Nike Pro model coming out? Give me that.
Well, it's not a bad shout for sponsorship, actually.
Just saying, if he gets it, throw me up here.
There's Nick's wall jumps going on with those Air Jordans.
That's all I'm saying.
Other shoes are available. We do have that stalemate we were talking about at the very start, normally just trading items. Av3k very much on the back foot, chucks up the turret to try and block Cooler's advances, but Cooler says, screw that, I'm dire orbing in, and he doesn't come out on top, as Av3k actually is relatively fruitful in stack and catches Cooler off the spawn. The dodge is unreal, but Av3k can fall back into a health bubble. Still not looking good as Cooler continues to fight! Oh my god.
Wow. Cooler's got to be frustrated off that, but it works. Av3k gets a 2-for-1, just needs to try and sustain and stop the bleeding now. But Cooler knows he's got to be weak, and there's the push. The shaft is going to be strong enough. Gets that frag back. Says thank you very much. How dare you? He's also going to get that mega to finally take care of that turret, that pesky little thing.
Been there for quite a while, and finally goes down. Well, they are going to meet here on the side. Av3k can't get away as once again the dire orb to close the gap, and we've seen great usage of that already. The rocket jump across to try and pick up speed, and the rocket hits him in the face! But Av3k does get the item, which means Cooler's in trouble. The good rail, but it's not going to be enough once again as Av3k gets away. He is low, and last time he was low we did see Cooler put the pressure off the spawn. That's exactly what he's doing. He's looking, he's hunting. Av3k is pillar dancing, and the shotgun is powerful, but is it enough?
Oh, finally goes down. Man, Av3k was dancing all day. You could hear Eisen screaming for years and years to come. There's the drop down. What a rail from Av3k. Just as he gets it, and this is a bloodbath. Back and forth we go.
Bloodbath indeed. The heavy was taken, but he will go down. A little bit of an opening now to put the pressure onto the next major item. It's a pretty crazy push. Av3k has better positioning.
Ooh,
very weak. But hits the rail. What an angle that was.
That was beautiful. And I like the aggression earlier, but he just didn't get close enough. His idea was, I'm going to orb into you and shotgun your face off. And just like this, he wants to try it again. Av3k almost makes it work with the machine gun. 5 HP for Cooler, and he gets away with it. 5-4. He might get caught out in the courtyard. Needs to be careful. Just got a glimpse of Av3k. Needs to get out of there. Misses with the rail. Almost gets caught on the wall, and Mega's not going to be up for another 10 seconds, so he needs to bail out of here.
He needs to, and Av3k is on the hunt. He knows how low his prey is. The question is, can he get him? Cooler's obviously got the orb available if he needs it, but at the moment, he's in a decent position. There's no rockets, there's no rail. He's got the lightning gun. Oh, sorry, the rail or the shotgun.
Beautiful play.
That, as you say, is beautiful.
Oh, the hallway of death. The nail's so strong. That is the last place you want to get caught out. The strafing won't save you there as Av3k nails him into the ground, tying it at 5. Battle to the death here, and Av3k manages to get out. Can he pick up the heavy? That'll be a victory in itself, but Cooler's too quick. But Cooler goes down! 12 HP. That health bubble saved Av3k's life on the stairs there. This is just turning into just a war. This is a brawl right now.
Yeah, neither one is backing down. It's partly because they're always having such chaotic fights and ending up so low. There's always an opportunity off the spawn with a bit of a light pickup and a weapon to then come back and refrag. So we might calm down now as there is a split on the items, and Av3k is securing this choke point. He knows where Cooler is, and Cooler says, no, I'm going to push. He's got the orb again. Has he got the timing? He's basing the orb out. He bullies his way in.
Av3k ran out of rockets, and that ruined that situation for him. That could have been much more lucrative. Timmy the Turret gets a little bit of information for Av3k, but Cooler with his LG so strong, absolutely melts him. Av3k tried to get the jump on him, but no dice. 6-6 now, as the pendulum keeps swinging back and forth between these two players.
Now we said, how is Cooler going to play this one? Using the utility of the Ranger, and it's going to be all-out aggression. He senses blood, and he uses it to close the gap. It's more so some really creative exits as well, so during this one so far, Av3k managed to pick up the heavy, this time unchallenged, which is good. Cooler actually lets the heavy go away for free, and the rocket go away for free. Av3k now has position on the Mega. Nice rail, but it's not going to be enough for him to stick around as he was trying to challenge through a choke point.
Deals with the turret, that's going to be huge. As Av3k trying to mount his attack on the heavy, but he'll go to Cooler for free as he was out in the courtyard getting the 50 shard. Now waiting above the eyeball, there's one rocket. Cooler knows exactly where he is. Av3k just spamming, trying to get the information. There's the rocket jump up, aggressive with the dire orb too. Timmy, the turret comes out, now it's LG on LG, and Av3k has the drop on him, and he will get the frag. Taking the lead, 6:30 in. Just all this machine gun right off the spawn. Cooler just maximizing damage as quick as he can.
Was that a mistiming from Cooler? He was a few seconds too early.
I'm not sure.
It was
the shaft battle. Yeah, the shaft battle did not go his way. The rockets might go Av3k's way. So much more lightning from Cooler. Can he get this back? And he does. 36 HP, and like you said, bloodbath every time. So weak. The refrag is there with the tri-bolt volley. Wow. If that gun isn't your favorite gun after today, I don't know what to tell you. Go get all of the skins for that. Use it all the time.
Well, what he meant to do was Cooler. Like, he just wanted to peek and do a single rail off the spawn, and suddenly he gets blitzed in the face with triple tri-bolt.
That's what you get.
Yeah, that's what you get. Says denied. Cooler's still on the low ground. He has to take out the turret, and in doing so will take some damage from the high ground, and Av3k is well positioned. Av3k, though, not having the rocket, still wants to take the fight with the lightning gun as they're both very low in the orb.
Last bit of burst damage, as you said, the shaft on shaft was strong, and he just threw it out there as a Hail Mary, and it worked. 12 HP, Cooler gets the Mega afterwards. Heavy is up, and he's just waiting for Av3k, trying to get some sort of angle here.
And it's all right. It's all initiative from Cooler. Av3k doesn't look like he wants to take a lot of these fights. He's just trying to play his game, and then Cooler just continually forces the issue time after time after time.
Constantly harassing here, as he will win out on the Mega free. Av3k coming in like a wrecking ball, the Hyper Blaster doing some damage. Timmy the turret comes out. That's a great exit rail there from Av3k. Keeping Cooler low. Orb's gonna be back up. Cooler really wants this heavy, but he needs to be careful if he overcommits. But Av3k again opting to take the 50 shard out in the courtyard instead.
Stopwatch.
Maybe stabilizing now as we approach the end of the game. Next frag could be the decider, although every time we've said this, might stabilize, they want to show us otherwise. But Av3k does have a relatively commanding stack. There's still a little bit of time before the heavy's up, which is the next objective for both of these players. Cooler is out of position for it, would maybe just try and hit some damage as he drops down on the spawn, which he does.
1 minute warning.
Knows Av3k's there though, so we'll retreat to the high ground once again. And now needs to be careful. There's plenty of time for Av3k to get in. He wants to defend the choke point, but missing out on that. Does need to drop down. He's got the orb available if he needs to escape, which he might need to use. That's a great rocket though to the high ground, but Av3k is very healthy. He wants to find Cooler now. He wants to end it now before Cooler can make a move.
We're going silent now. Oh my god, through the telly, can he get the frag? And he does with the oh wow.
Av3k still got a chance. Cooler's not that healthy. He just needs a weapon. He doesn't even need an item. His stack is higher. He's picked up the heavy though. Cooler will go back to that item knowing Av3k's just picked it up. It's the last place he will want to look because he knows it's not up, but he does drop down. Eats a good rocket, but what can he do? He's just out on the Mega, and Cooler manages to escape to clinch the narrowest of victories and progress in the bracket in his strive to win the belt back.
Wow. That was so close. That was intense. I can't believe, well, I can. I've seen that happen before, but that was just an incredible map right there from Cooler and Av3k. Very back and forth, very refrag heavy based on all the damage they did in the initial fights. That was just a really, really good set. But the king, again, shows the prince, hey, I'm the king for a reason. I want that belt again. So he's going to advance and knock Av3k to the lower bracket.
Yeah, and it's, I guess people might say it's an upset, all things considered, because he was the one to take it last time from Av3k, but he does progress, and we will be seeing more of Cooler in the upper bracket as Av3k drops. But for now, we will drop down to a break and see you after the break to catch up and analyze that one.